Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing tonight on this Friday? How's everybody doing? Hope I'm coming through fine. I'm trying to stay away from my mic so that I don't keep popping. Frank, T-Farmers 2002, CD Freedom, Valnog, Windcharger. How are you guys doing? El Kevo, good to see you. Arshay, who we got? Jumbo Playset, how you doing? This is going to be an interesting one today, folks. We'll let some more people trickle in. Hey, Ninjatron. This may be the first time you guys hear me have some questions about what the heck's going on. I tend to not, I don't want to be negative, but I want to talk about where we are. So, figure we talk a little bit about 1989, talk about this Liokaiser, and kind of give some my thoughts from my point of view. And I wonder what the hell's going on, quite honestly. We'll see. So, the obvious cannot be understated. I have made, my family and I have made a decision. We found a new house in Rhode Island, so we're packing up to move. For those of you who are young, this is a life lesson. Those who are old, you know the situation. Different parts of this country, the United States, are valued very differently. My family and I have a wonderful house in Ohio. Great layout, bedroom, bathroom, the whole thing, and very affordable and very comfortable to live. To replace that in Rhode Island is very difficult. So we found a smaller house in Rhode Island that is ideal because that is literally all that's available for what one's willing to afford. And having this nest egg in Ohio is important to us. So I'm actually moving back to the original podcast spot to take care of that property. I'm going to be going back and forth to Rhode Island, back and forth. So you can tell from what I try to keep as at least visually interesting office display when I do the podcast. This is not kind of how you normally see it. So I have been packing my stuff up to move next Saturday, Sunday, to move back to Ohio. The whole family's going out for our winter break to reset up that house a little bit. Because again, the new house is a lot smaller than the previous places we've lived. So some of that stuff's going to go back to Ohio. Some of it's going to go to the new place. But either way, expect to see the old setup a little bit and a little bit different. But I'm also going back to take advantage of the opportunity that it gives me to double down on my art and double down on my projects, whether that's the Patreon or sketchbooks or story projects or other ideas that I've had to do these interviews and things. So, the more things change, the more they stay the same. But that is what is going on. How are you going to pay for all of what? My junk or the Haslab stuff? So hey Larry, how are you? Patrick, good to see you. Yeah, I wish I wouldn't have moved. We thought we would sell our house and buy a house here, but there's just no houses to buy, and the price difference between Ohio and the Northeast is so incredibly different that I could sell my house in Ohio and not even make a drop in the bucket out here. So why give up such a good value nest egg? We didn't want to rent it, and you have to have somebody living in your house. You can't just have a house sitting there and have it be insured and everything. So that is the process for the next little while. So in some ways you might see me a little bit more. So for this audience, that might be a fine thing. But moving does suck. We are hiring some strong dudes to pick up the boxes and move these tubs and things this time, so I won't be completely wiped out. I love the Gold 3 standing by and whatnot, by the way. Freedom launching, hilarious. So I'll be driving back and forth to Rhode Island here and there. May change up how I do my Friday nights, but that's down the road to figure that out. But why avoid the obvious? That's what's happening. The family's fine. We're just got to do what we got to do to, in this crazy world, keep our things moving forward. So with that said, I hope everybody is doing well on this Friday. I hope the winter weather is making you work or working out for you, and you're not getting stuck anywhere. The only bad thing about your old spot is the time difference. So it's the same time difference, isn't it? 10 o'clock on Eastern Standard Time. But since I will be without my family there to dictate how my Friday nights go, pizza night and everything else, I will probably might start at 9 more often. Ohio is the same time zone as Rhode Island, yes. Sorry, I've also had a cold this week, so I apologize if I'm coughing into the mic today. Yeah, so I might do them a little earlier. I might do them earlier and maybe go longer. So, win-win for everybody, I imagine. Yeah, we're 1 month from LA. I got my giant list of who I want to get done for LA. You can see what ones are crossed off and which ones aren't. So I'm Aaron Archer. You found yourself at the Toy Armada on this Friday night, and you can check out my stuff on the links above. I'm a longtime toy designer at Hasbro and Kenner, and just generally spent a lot of my time kind of working on the whys and working with marketing about why we make the toys we make, not being an industrial designer. So I come at this with a little bit of an interesting point of view, I think, about how the decisions in toys get made and different ways to think about it beyond just talking about the toys themselves, which are, cool or interesting or have articulation or don't have this or, that's fine. But I like to talk about the decisions and how the decisions might come behind the scenes. So, that is what we're going to talk about. So, Liokaiser. It was announced today that Haslab, the next Haslab item is the 6-figure. Hey, pullover, thank you. Yeah, industrial design. I worked with a lot of industrial designers. You almost don't hear that term anymore, do you? It feels almost old-fashioned in a way. Yeah, so I will be at TFCon LA in March. Looking forward to that very much. Certainly after a move and being separated from my family a little bit, that will be a good outing. Very excited to get back to LA. So looking forward to that for sure. Yeah, Pullover, you're right. It is all UX, user interface, and user design and stuff. A Star Warrior Prime Reviews, how are you? So let's talk about Liokaiser. So, we've been in this situation, I guess, broadly. Don't kill me about the details, fellas, because I don't keep it up like the same way you guys do. But, we had our Star Saber, we had the Thesaurus. So clearly, this is kind of in the pantheon of certainly the more Japanese side of the fandom. really, I started this, and I'll keep continuing on it. I'm in a difficult place here. I find this to be a very weird decision on a lot of fronts, unless I kind of think about some other things. So I'm going to give you my internal feeling and maybe how I would have thought when I was at Hasbro about this character or this kind of thing. And then I'm going to give you some plausible reasons why it might have been done. Any good creative or designer, you really want to look at things from multiple views and not just have one strong opinion. So unless you have informed yourself over years. So I'm gonna give the good, the bad of my opinion of this character tonight. And I don't normally, you guys know that I don't normally talk or second guess, I guess is the way I should say it. I don't want to second guess Hasbro because I believe, because I dealt with this when I was on the inside. I believe you don't know everything that you think you know, right? So when you're on the inside, there's a lot more variables. When you're on the outside, you don't know all those variables as to why these decisions get made. But so I say that as a caveat. And I will also say from the outset, it's a wonderful item. Okay, it's a wonderful item. The toy itself is capable, well-intentioned, well-designed, 6-figure combiner. No problem with the item. Okay. So whoever designed it and worked on it in America or Japan, great job. Great job. That's not, I don't want to single out anybody and talk negative. We all make these products under the conditions that they end up being when you're internal, whether it's a management telling you something, whether it's an insight, research, whatever. So I don't want to be negative about the item, but I want to talk about the choice, where the character is from, why the character is strange to me a little bit, and talk it through as if I was back at Hasbro trying to debate the team as to, left, right, up, down, which direction do we want to go. Okay? Does that make sense? Again, I want to be fair. I'm not sitting in the meetings. I can't, you shouldn't use my previous experience and knowledge alone to make decisions. I don't want to condemn anybody or the thing. I don't know enough, but I'm going to give you the insight of what I would have thought. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, LA first round's on you, Larry. That is fine. I get in at Friday at I think I land about 1 p.m. in LAX, I believe, so I probably won't get to the convention till after 3. But let's figure it out, man. And let me know, anybody that's here on the podcast, definitely let me know if you're going to be there. I know some of you. Is TF Formers 2002, are you going to be there? So, Liokaiser. Can I hear from people in the chat, and when I say people, I mean Ninjatron, where does this character really rank on the known desired characters or characters desperately deserving of an upgrade? I guess that's where I want to start my thesis, is that there's this G1 character that came out in 89, and it's a capable combiner for its time. 1989 in Transformer world is a very weird time. Okay, those of you who weren't there, and might be certainly under 30. 89 is the year that essentially Hasbro and Takara did almost the least amount of work together. I think 1990 might be the lowest. But 89 is a very short year as far as American releases. And so is 90 and 91. There's a lot of Japanese releases, but not as many American releases of the robots that they were making. Transformers was on a downtrend. These are these eras of post G2, right? So it's even harder. And this stuff just didn't come out in the States for the most part. And so I guess that's where I start my thesis. This is a character that is largely unknown to all but the deepest and elder Transformer fans. Because at this point you have to have sought out the Japanese stuff and absorbed it one way or another, either through translation or recaps of episodes and that kind of stuff. I can tell you, good or bad, that I started on the brand during Beast Wars a little bit, but let's just talk from 2001 or late 2000 on. In my time. Now, I always talk about getting back to basics. So getting back to basics, I definitely wasn't looking at the Japanese stuff, to be fair. Okay, again, I want to be completely fair. But this character, the name and the character did not ever come up in my 13 years of hardcore Transformer designing. Now, that's for a lot of reasons. But it also is I have a long list of characters we never got to as well that we would have liked to have gotten to. And I find that this one is further down that list than I ever would have thought we'd get. That's me, from the more casual, creative person on the brand. If I had to pull from the past of Transformers to make a new Haslab, I'm going to pass. In my mind, I'm passing up some great characters along the way before I get to this guy. Now, again, this is why I think I was good at Hasbro. I'll give you pros and cons. It is a combiner, so you're getting a box set of items with their breast formers, and that is cool. I value that. But I don't know. This one, it's a character most people don't know the name of, don't know the story of. It's a combiner. I don't know that it's the most sexy combiner, almost because of the different wild forms. It's not as simple as Aerobots or Constructicons or Bruticus in that regard, or even Poseidon or whatever the underwater guy's name you want to use. So to me, if you're into combining, that's good. Then that's a value add. I guess I also have to say that it says to me that Takara and Hasbro are working in tandem, and Takara Tomy might be I don't want to say having more say, but certainly contributing to what they know in their market. They can definitely make hay about. Another version of certain characters won't make a big dent in the Japanese market, right? They are buying third party in the Japanese market and different things. So what can be made that's wildly different and caters to the Asian market, maybe, then I can see, well, that's how Takara's thinking, and that's how a character like this then gets chosen. But again, now I go, okay, well, it's a combiner and it's got this, kind of hidden Asian pedigree. So that's interesting. None of the characters or names that I know or have ever seen for the most part, as a casual fan. I don't know. Let's see what you guys have to say. Hey, Paul, how are you? Yep. Jumbo playset, I agree with your mainline Star Convoy and Magnetron. And again, I'm not saying, this isn't a bad item or a bad choice of item, but I would think, again, and maybe you guys can clue me in, but, RID Megatron maybe doesn't rise to the level of Haslab. I'll give you that. But how do I round out collections that you guys have already been building through their exclusive programs? So I guess this does fall into the Dasara Star Saber era. Yeah, I agree with you there, Timu. I do remember these as kind of having those weird names. And that might be the extent of my connection. So Ninjatron, for a long time, fans at the dawn of the internet hearing about these exclusive characters from Japan was intriguing, new world to, go find those products and learn more about them. And I know you are certainly one of those guys. But you have to be one of those guys. They're trying to make this a Haslab item. They got to get 10,000 Ninjatrons out there. And I find that to be a little bit of the weirder part. It's a good item. It's a combiner, so that's great. Box set, that's great. Are there 10,000 people that want a random combiner? Because if you don't know the character, it's just a random box set. Then we get to the price, right? At $299, I guess I'm going to agree with Proto Man. That's the price for the stand and the Cobra guy and the weapon, and they're just preloading the price a little bit, I think, to get, to assume that all that stuff's going to clear. Those are great add-ons, great extensions, I guess. $299 does seem somewhat excessive based on other price points and things. I don't necessarily consider myself an expert in the pricing anymore and the different value changes. So much has changed with plastic value and everything else. However, at the end of the day, giving away $299, I understand that. I definitely understand the price overall. Man, sorry. Well, they'd be 10,000, clone Ninjatrons. They wouldn't be the real Ninjatron. You'd have quite an army there to control. I think that price is kind of maybe the standard, anymore. And I can't figure out, maybe for me personally, if it's the price. Is it worth that $300 hard-earned dollars? How long do you have to work your hourly job to earn that money? Is it worth that or not? I don't buy these items too often. I bought the His Tank. But I'm not, I would have maybe bought Star Saber and Dosaurus before this one. I don't know. I'm struggling with this one. You can tell. And that's definitely what the title of my thing. Who the fuck is Liokaiser? I don't know if you get the casual fans with an item like this. And to get 10,000, 13,000 fans for the add-ons and things, I don't know. Again, the product looks nice. The articulation, the variety, the legs look good. The arms look good. Colors look decent. I don't know. I guess I'm just not excited about it. It's not sexy to me for the purposes of a Haslab. Ooh, well, Kevo, I like to have 2 copies of Combiners, so I'm struggling with this one a bit. Yeah, I mean, depend on how you all arrange your collections. Yeah, that's a difficult one as well. They would sell terrible at retail on their own. So if this is ever going to get released, I do think T-Formers 2002, I think this is the best way to get it done, for sure, for the company and commerce and product planning and everything else, as you say. So it makes sense there. So I want to be fair, for every good reason. Oh, it's a combiner. You get 6 in a box. It's unknown. It's very Japanese. The price, the add-ons, hopefully they come through. But who is this speaking to? Because I just don't feel that the 1989 world of Japanese Transformers transcends that deep into the fandom. I gotta say, there's that. That's just, I guess, where I leave it. I mean, there's a band of people that I know over the years who are really into the Japanese side of the brand. But even the most of the Transformer fans that I've met over the years, this is a bit of a deep cut. I mean, bit of a deep cut, if you ask me. Seems like the price has been slowly going up more and more. Something tells me that they're trying to casually lean in towards a bigger Haslab. Maybe. All right, Ninjatron. Not excited either, huh? It's hard to get excited anymore. I'll give you that. How are you, Young? So, I don't know. I guess that's what we're discussing here. I'm getting from you guys, it's not the most well-known. If they were going to make any of them, this is a high on the list of who they would make. Not too happy about the price. So, I just think when we were talking all the different other options that the Haslab could be, not that I'm advocating for ideas that didn't happen, but they got to this choice for a reason. And I just sit there and I'm scratching my head a little bit going, well, there's this guy and this guy and that guy, and this combiner could have been, is on the list, is all I'm saying. But they're definitely, I think the deal they currently have with Takara Tomy has a lot to say about some of these more Japanese-centric characters that they're doing. So that they definitely will sell in that market. Yeah, and I guess Ninjatron, I guess that's where I'm going. I mean, it's an era of Transformers. While if you have found it and maybe you partook in it somehow, it's certainly an interesting thing. But if you're a casual, even if you're a casual super fan, I gotta believe there's a list of 5 other characters easily that you would get to well before this one showed up on your list. I don't know. The Devastator looks great. That Devastator looks nice. So I don't know. Again, the product is great. It's a cool item. Is it worth the price? Do I need him over other people? I don't know. This in all my days, this isn't a character that came up. So why do I want to pay a big price for him? Now, we all know Haslabs end up being rare and they end up going up in value. So, there's that aspect of it too. Yeah, there's a lot of different era Transformers that I'm sure all of you have a desire to get before maybe this one. And again, it's a great item. It'll do well, I suppose. But how do they get there? And then I sit there and I go, well, Takara may have had a strong opinion, and I could maybe feel that way. And that's how they got to it. I think a shakeup is coming for Generations. Waves are getting a makeover. This Haslab was listed as Legacy. Age of Primes is only going to be 2 years. 27 is going to be a big shift. Well, I'll take the big approach. TF1 didn't do great. I guess they're now looking at bringing back the old cast from the first movie to do some sort of final Bayverse kind of thing. That could revitalize the brand a little bit, but anytime you're kind of putting a coda on your process, then it's not exciting people for the future. It's kind of, oh, this is where I finish my collection, So that we'll see where that ends up. But we'll see because the brand is trending on its smaller brand, right? It can't be a big blockbuster every year, every decade. So different things are happening. TF1 is proof that maybe Transformers is oversaturated somewhat or needs to get small before it can get big again. We'll see. I'm too cool. You agree with this statement? I'm too cool to get excited. Well, for us old timers, it is tough to get excited about stuff, and Hasbro has done, good or bad, different iterations. If you're like Proto Man, if you're into Rodimus, we've done all different types, or they did all different types. When I was there, we did different types, and you could pick and choose. As you're in the Transformers game for longer and longer, you run across several versions of characters that you thought you've gotten the best of in a kid line or TV line versus a G1 type thing, and it's hard to get excited. It is sometimes hard to get excited, and that's why I advocate for a bolder approach where things change a little more, where we're not so reliant on the same story. Well, speaking of the list, I don't believe they are supposed to go through the list in order. I would make lesser desirable things to last. Better to mix them up. Yeah. Overlord. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, the video game got canceled. That didn't help. I assume you're talking about the MMO or whatever they were calling it. 2027 will be the 20th anniversary of the Babeverse. Wow. I gotta get in on that now. It's kind of interesting, isn't it, that the comic is doing well at the moment, because at times when other entertainment was doing well, the comics weren't doing well. So everything is atrophying back to a core story or core fans, right? The movie, and different times things pop beyond their need. You get Daniel Protoman talks about it. You get the hanger-ons, the people think it's cool, but they're not living it, So it's interesting how it'll go all the way back down to basics, to the comics. I'm so excited for that rumor to become reality. Finish off that Unicron thread from TLC the last night. Yeah. Yeah, there's some rumor going around that Shia and Megan are coming back for some sort of, final cap of that universe. I don't know if they're referencing it as the final of the universe, but certainly bringing it back to the beginnings. So we'll see. Maybe all that makes the perfect time for Liokaiser. All of what, Ninjatron? Just getting back to basics, I mean, you do a Liokine, whoever buys Liokaiser, who your fans are. I'll give you that. Yeah, Tyrese should come back. No doubt. Wind Charger. The longer the brand lasts, the more generic it gets. Well, I have to disagree with you there. I think if you're not willing to change and come up with new layers of the transforming onion, you run into a rut, and you could find yourself with that attitude. But the magic of that puzzle play, it should never get generic or boring if you're able to tell dynamic new stories. So if it feels generic to you, then they're not doing enough changing, and they're not surprising you. And as we get older, as fans of what is meant to be kids' entertainment, it's going to be harder and harder to get excited. No doubt. If you were able to do a Haslab back in the day, how would the process be in deciding which one to do? Back in my day, we would have picked the most popular character and done probably the most dynamic version. So if I think of our mentality around 20th anniversary Optimus, it would have been about bells and whistles on the best versions of certain characters, probably than high-end, low buyer count, obscure figures. It's a different model now for sure. So the Haslab that I think I would have, 20th anniversary Optimus is kind of a version of a Haslab item in its own way. It would have been that type of thing. In my era, with the team I worked with our mentality at that time, there's no way we would have looked towards, here's our opportunity to do more obscure figures. The brand just wasn't in a place at that point to think like that. Yeah, Reactivate is gone. I haven't read enough of the comic. I mean, I love the art. But it seems to be within the publishing world doing what it needs to do, and that's important as well. If you're licensing your brand and it doesn't make a dent in these other worlds, then what are you doing? So something's working. Liokaiser was something I wanted about 2 years back, but now that it's here, I just don't care. Maybe because I'm pretty done with Haslab concept. Yeah, I mean, that's a straight opinion, man. Thanks for sharing, Robert H. That happens too. That's how things work nowadays. If there's hope for it to work, they'll find a way to fail. Yeah, I'm not sure I follow on that one. Yeah, I hope that Death Cobra add-on certainly appears, because I mean that's the cool thing about his story, in a way, or one of the cool things about his story. The add-on weapon, that's a little odd, but whatever. The Legacy Armada Optimus Prime feels like a Haslab item to me now, thanks to your take. Haha. Well, the only reason those things aren't Haslab items, they could sell a mass, period. So that works out. Wow, Alkeva. One of the things I kind of like about the new style, or the book, is kind of that destructive style a little bit. My stream's skipped on me here. Sorry, hold up. But Alkeva, I kind of get what you mean, but that's kind of what I like about it, only because it is a bit different than what's come before. I'm the type of person that's looking for angles, like what can we do new? But I hear you. CD Freedom, do you think there's a chance Hasbro will release Haslab Unicron in 2026? It'd be 40th anniversary movie 5 years after the toy release. I don't see why not. I don't see why not. I guess the question will be, what would they do different to it to not disenfranchise the people that bought it the first time around? And are you going to be able to get as many people if they struggled to get that one across the line the first time around? it might be difficult to get the amount of people needed a second time, although it would certainly be worth it. This tooling gotta be expensive. If they can figure out a way to do it again, I'm sure they're thinking about it. Yeah, I never bought into the Primus as an option. I know Proto Man was hoping for a Primus, or still hopes for a Primus, but I'm not sure about that one. I actually wish for some of the Haslabs, I really do wish that they would go to some of these completely unmade items that we have only seen pictures of, and make one of those and make it a big deal and launch a brand new character in an entertainment to make a bigger deal out of it, and just go for it, and then promote it as an 80s G1 character finally brought to plastic for the first time. What's wrong with that? I like that idea. Marcelo, hey man, how are you? About the comics. All right, there you go. You're enjoying what you're seeing. Yeah, once you change the size, Temu, that's a whole new tooling. It's like doing it somewhat over again. There could be some savings, but at the same time, not enough that you would be able to redo it. So that's difficult. Yeah, we all thought Transformers 1 was going to work and be a success. It failed. Reactivate was a game everyone was hyped for, and it got the Micronaut treatment. I don't know what the Micronaut treatment means, but let's not put anything on it. When TF1 did not perform well, there was a fork in the road, and we are on that. The result of that performance on that fork in that road, and that's going to dictate where the future goes for the next few years a little bit, because they're not building on what they thought they might have been building on. So Windcharger, you got a point there. And then the game is, way more people play games and watch cartoons or go to the movies, right? So a game is a modern way to infuse, your characters into the lives of a lot of different types of people. And then maybe they buy other toy product. And when that game fell, it just tells you that Transformers is always going to have a place, but we're not in a ideal world right now where we can just get everything we want. So it's tricky for sure. Rumors for Primus next year's Haslab pretty strong. Yeah, we'll see. I think and here's another thing. If Unicron came out 5 years ago, even if you make the exact same Unicron, it may cost more than the $600 it initially was. That's without any added things, any changes. So you got to consider that. If let's say they redeco Unicron, and now he's destroyed or black, or they do something. First of all, it's got to be legit enough that enough people want it. But if you just take the weight of the plastic as it is, it's going to be more than $600. Prices have gone up in 5 years. So that one would be tricky. They would have to maybe put out the same Unicron in a different box with some other items. But man, that's expensive. It's expensive. And don't forget, Unicron is Unicron, and it barely made it. It barely made it. They haven't even approached, the $600 since for Transformers. So let's see what here. Yeah, there's not enough freshness. That's one way to look at it. When you get to the point where your brand is only looking backwards towards its successful days, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because then you're relying on people who remember the good old days and want to relive the good old days. You're not enticing any new people to jump on or get them excited or presenting something so new. Well, I got to get back into collecting, which was the goal for like an Alternators, right? Let's get guys who do not care about Armada. It is not what they're after. But here's this new thing, and they'll jump on that. So it's interesting. Let's see, this thing's not updating fast enough on one side. Sorry. So Ninjatron, the movie not doing well and the game launching, you want to keep them separate. They are separate. I guess you could say that's a coincidence, but it just doesn't speak. They didn't sign up a new video game partner the next day. They haven't announced how they're using the TF1 assets. So I also can't live in a world where I pretend things are going great. So I look at all these data points and I go, they're not connected, but it's just another. If you don't have video games, if your movies are seen as underperforming, it has a cascading effect, even if they're not connected. Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to the games, but, when you develop a game for too long, you always run into problems. New corporate don't much care for the franchise, as Brian Goldner did. Well, Brian Goldner saw Transformers as a way to build the Hasbro portfolio and Hasbro's kind of broader contribution to the entertainment world. We don't just make licensed toys. We have brands, and we know how to develop those brands and love of these characters. And he was big into that, to get Hasbro overall growing and growing and growing. It was tactical for Brian. He loved it because it helped Hasbro. Don't make a mistake that he was super fan at the same time. He wasn't. He let me do that part of it. But the goal was to make Transformers bigger, make the profile of the brand and the company bigger. And now, the announcement of the Magic movie. That's where they're at now. Cards, you're like printing money. It doesn't cost. You don't have a lot of tooling. That kind of thing. So it's interesting. COVID would have made Haslab Unicron easily more expensive. I don't know. Well, they did promise that they would never re-release or reuse the mold, didn't they? I don't think they're going to hold to that if they want to, though. That who's going to hold them to that? And there's no. I don't think you're going to be able to sue them for that. So, that might, after 5 years, that one might disappear, their wind charger. I don't know. And Temu. Yeah, I think as they navigate the Haslab things, they shouldn't make hard and fast rules, because you never know. You never know. Oh, wow, Australia. Game the system a little bit in a positive for you guys. That is good. Yeah, at this point they should re-release Unicron, but again, that item is crazy. It's crazy expensive. The box is huge. There's no retail environment that can absorb that item. In some cases, it's kind of ridiculous that they even attempted to ship it that way. So I don't know. I find it difficult to just re-release that item, period, just because of the box. Even if they try to do something, I mean, there's a lot of facets to that item. If they did re-release Unicron, it would not have all the bells and whistles of the original release. Otherwise, they could do it. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't come with the little extras and change some paint. Maybe a new head, right? Maybe it's the Armada Unicron. But, you know, they kind of painted themselves into a corner with that item so early and so big. And again, everybody I talk to that I have this discussion with about that Unicron, I don't have enough room to store the box. Even if I had it back here on my shelf and proud of it, where do I put that box? It was crazy. So, kind of weird, kind of wild. Let's see. So, don't forget TF Con. I will be at. Anybody going? Who's going? Sorry. So I'm going to talk a little bit longer, but if you're interested in my sketchbooks, check out archermonster.com. Check my regular art on Aaron Archer Official on the Instagram. If you're into getting a little deeper, we're working on our Patreon. You know, and then I still have, you know, this guy just got re-released or reissued, I guess, or remade. So I do these art on the instruction sheets. You can check those out. Got some in progress. What else I got here in progress? Ironhide, movie Ironhide. Got a lot of them in progress. Just a matter of what am I interested in drawing that day that I sit down. Ooh, I got Energon Optimus. Got that one going. So check that out. Oh, thank you, Ninjatron. Yeah, it's sideways. It's on the Japanese paper. Kind of cool. Thanks, Mark. T-Farmers 2002. You'll be there? Awesome. Domino, where are you from? I appreciate that, Ninja. Thank you. That's right. Sideways is one of the ultimate ninjas. I had a lot of fun designing those mini cons. I still enjoy making a good ninja and a bad ninja that combine to be a bike rider, but then they have those 2 different Shogun helmets. To me, that was a lot of fun to design. Yeah, I'll do a panel at TFCon, Marcelo. Yeah, I do a panel every time. Daniel and I will riff on something. I don't know what we're doing exactly yet. It'll probably be something Energon. We're kind of pushing past the Armada stuff and pushing into some Energon discussion lately. Oh, that's right, Australia. Yeah, I've had a couple fan friends from Australia, and it's an interesting, every country outside of America and Japan and certain spots has different, their buyers buy different things, the different shops, different retail in every country, and it's really interesting the mix of things that do or do not get to certain countries. Whole waves of whole segments of items don't go certain places. And Australia was an interesting one because it's certainly a vibrant fan base in Australia, but different hodgepodge of stuff. Yeah, convention related would be tough. It'd be tough. I could make a case, why isn't there a Haslab set of 25 minicons for $300? Like, let's throw crazy stuff out there. Like, I could make a case that would, a set of minicons for a certain price. You guys we'd all be excited about that. Not what we're getting. Interesting one, CD Freedom. That's a pretty good one. Noon on Friday. All right, well, I'll get there a little bit after that, but not much. You got to think of all this stuff in different ways. It doesn't have to just be one item. I'm glad they're doing combiner pack, but there's a lot of things out there that we all want or would like to see, and they could do it. Theoretically, they could do it. There's always reasons that we don't know behind the scenes. It's not here yet. You're right. It's not here yet. We don't know what that price point's going to be. So here's another. This is where I'm at with this one at the moment. It's not all the way done. That's that. I've been showing this one for a while. So, let's get a little more of Megatron 2 over here. So, we'll see. $5 each. Probably going to be higher than that. But we'll see. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to call it a night. And definitely check out my stuff, my sketchbooks, my artwork, always available. See me at the shows if you have any questions or have any desire to have instruction sheet art of particular characters. Hit me up on the Instagram and we can work something out. I got a large selection of the sheets and we can do stuff. If you have a poll, Aaron, get a chatting with folks about the minicons. Yeah. Ninjatron, do you fill in the large solid areas with just a pen? No. On these, no. Any of these, the backgrounds, and even some of the larger areas are, on the paintings, are not pens. I'll do acrylic. I use the fluid paint because I can lay it down thinner. Thick paint would not be good. But if you're talking about these, Yeah, these are the different pens. But I have the pen tips at all different sizes. So, like, that red and yellow is a huge pen. I mean, you know, I'm getting pretty big. So it's not that bad. But when I'm doing the space paintings and larger areas, that's acrylic paint out of tubes and stuff. Does that answer your question, Ninja? Yeah, if it was just the pens, it'd be a little trickier. But on the instruction sheets, it's usually just the pens. Sometimes gray. I'll paint the gray. All right, everybody. Patrick, Ninja, Frank, T-Forms 2002, Timu, Mark, Domino Paradox, Wind Charger, as always. Star Warrior Prime Reviews, thank you very much. El Kevo, Marcelo, thanks for popping in. And thanks for having this discussion. I don't know if I'm right, I'll tell you that. I don't want to give you my opinion that I'm always going to be right. But that's where I'm at. That's where we're at with Liokaiser. So let's keep that discussion going. We'll see where this all goes over time. Yeah, no, I gotta use a little brush in there, Ninja. So with that, I appreciate you all, and I will see you. I don't know if I'll be able to do next Friday, but the Friday after that, I will be back in the old studio. So that's where we are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you on my social medias and everything else. And if you've purchased anything or plan to see me at a show this year, look forward to seeing you. All right, buddies. I look forward to talking to you guys next time. Talk to you soon.